Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. Kahlua has decided to join us this morning. We're going to talk about everything I've read so far in January. Month isn't over yet. I'm going to do this as a monthly wrap-up this month. January has been very busy between Dave being out of town for a week and weather and just life. January has been very busy. It's also been a great reading month. So, I am filming this Friday the 23rd. And I have gotten a bunch of unexpected books read. And I am so okay with that. I can't even begin to tell you. How we won. Yeah. Oh, you're so unloved. I'm sure everybody feels so sorry for you. Yeah. Everybody feels so sorry for you. So, I have completed 4 books to date. The 5th book will be completed this weekend, in which most of the country is going to be affected by the winter storm moving in. We are dipping in and out of ice warnings. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not worried. My household is prepared. It's not a big deal. But, if we lose power, I'm going to have a lot of books read before the end of the month. If we don't lose power, I will undoubtedly still get books finished, but probably not nearly as many as if, all electronic devices cease to work in my household. So, what have I finished? I have finished 2 big, thick library books, which have been returned already. I'm about to finish another. There is 1 physical book from my shelves, and the 4th book has flown right out of my head, so I'm going to have to go look that up before the end of this video. So, okay, what have I finished that I know without looking up? First up would be The Appeal by Janice Hallett. This was my first book by her. This was perfect for Epistolary January. A bunch of people read it last year and fell in love with it. I got it at my library bookshop for sale, which was great because they didn't have it sitting on the shelves. And this is completely epistolary in nature. It is told through text and emails and I believe journal entries and letters and police incident reports. And it tells the story of it's set in England. It is told through multiple points of view. And most of the book, I want to say 2/3 to 3/4 of the book, is backstory, world building, setting the stage, introducing the characters, their dynamics. It's a lot of world building. And had this book not been so beloved last January, I freely admit I probably would have been bored with that much world building and no even remote hint at action. And I probably would have put it down. But I persevered, and that last 1/3 to 1/4 totally made up for the frustration I was experiencing with that first portion of the book. Everything gets wrapped up. It is incredibly interesting the way in which she chose to wrap it up. And I was so very into this in just the entire way. the book was handled by the end sold me on her writing style, the way she tells a narration, the way she sets up characters. Now, I did try to read the Christmas story related to this series in December and realized that I was missing backstory, so I didn't. I will look forward to that. Excuse me. Much later this year. The second book in, which is now a series, is called the Fairway Players series, is coming out this year. Looking forward to that. I'm reading the books my library has from her, sitting on the shelves. I'm just, no thread was left untouched. The all of that world building completely pays off. It wasn't extraneous. It wasn't just to get word count up. It was completely necessary to the way the book evolves. I can now see why everybody loved it so much last year. So she is now a must-read author for me. Okay. I just remembered what my fourth book was. Next up would be Daughter of the Otherworld by Shauna Lawless. This is the fourth book in the Gale's Song series. It is also the first book in the next trilogy set. And much like the first book in the entire series, which was Children of Gods and Fighting Men, this was a lot of world building, setting the stage for the current landscape. So this book takes place 150 years after the conclusion of book 3 in the series, and most of most of the characters from the first trilogy are dead. There are very few remaining who are alive. Our villains are alive. There are members of the Tuatha De Danann who are still alive. But our protagonist this time is the half-mortal, half-Tuatha De Danann, aka descendant child, Isolde, who was slipped into the other world with her mother's dying breath, and she reemerges. She is raised on a very secluded island off the coast of Ireland by her uncle, who is a descendant warrior. They are found by the Fomorians, and things take off. Now, the political landscape of Ireland, Britain, and Wales has completely changed in those 150 years dramatically. The Norman invasion has occurred. Feudalism has come to England. Large stone castles are being built, standing armies that are based on chivalry and Christianity that you and I would recognize as being such, are very much the norm. So you have a very strong Catholic British, aka Norman, army that goes over to investigate if it's worth investing their time, money, energies, etc. into conquering Ireland. And there is again, it's a world building book, but it was fascinating and very well done. And if you go into it knowing that it's a world building book, it's not a complete story yet, you will be a much happier reader. I absolutely loved it. I am looking forward to the next book, which does not come out this year, I do not believe. At least it's not yet on my radar. I will read it when it releases. I'm completely immersed in this series. The writing is excellent. It's historical fantasy. And she does a great job at the end in discussing in the author's note what is fact from fiction. So I highly recommend this series. Okay, up next. Okay, The next book I read, and this is a recommendation, not a recommendation. Dave ran across it and he was like, I need you to read this. Just tell me if it's any good. I will admit, I go into this next book with very low expectations. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. It is now, Kindle has done something and Kindle Unlimited books can go to libraries. My library has the entire series, which is good because the second book, for some reason, is not available on Kindle Unlimited, which makes no sense. But that is Dungeon Crawler Matt by Matt. Is it Matt Dinneman? Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm sorry. By Matt Dinneman is the first book. And I did not expect this to be over 400 pages. It is. And I'm not going to lie. I was hooked from the get-go. So the premise is that aliens invade Earth, and if you were caught inside when they do so, you are immediately killed. So every human who is inside any kind of structure, car, building, doesn't matter, is killed. Our hero, Carl, is outside in a pair of Crocs, his underwear, and a t-shirt, rescuing his girlfriend's cat who had just jumped out the window. So Carl and Donut, the cat, are saved. Now, mind you, it is a stormy night. It's 2:00 in the morning. It's very cold. It's winter. And suddenly there's this voice saying that anybody left outside now has an hour to find a dungeon entrance or they will be exterminated. Carl grabs Donut and they find a dungeon entrance and down they go. Thus starts the story. Now, I will warn you, there is intermittent swearing in this book. Can't say that when the swearing in this book occurs, I probably would have sworn too. Especially given the fact that, aliens just killed, a massive percentage of the Earth's population. Kind of a little life-shattering there. So, what I wasn't expecting, and what I was so pleasantly surprised by, was the uplifting moral choices Carl makes along the way. And his selflessness in this book. First book covers levels 1 and 2 of the dungeon. And it is just a great, it's a lit RPG, so it's, video game style of story. It's fantasy, obviously. Little science fiction, because we have aliens and, there's lots of alien creatures and stuff. But it's very familiar. It's very fun. It's very entertaining. I enjoyed that book. I read it in 2 days. Couldn't put it down, which is good because it's very popular in my library. And I was thoroughly entranced. I did not expect it. I expected it to be a woke mess. There was no wokeness that I saw, at least in the first book. I'm almost finished with the second book. Hasn't appeared there yet either. It's just fun. It's escapist fantasy at its best. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. So much so that, here's book 2. And it is Carl's Doomsday Scenario. Now, this one is not available on Kindle Unlimited for some reason. But, as I said, my library has it all. And this one is just under 300 pages. It's like 370 pages, or under 400 pages, 370 pages. This is dungeon level 3. The game has gotten more intense. There are far fewer participants in the dungeon. The stakes are raised, and yet Carl is still very much Carl. And Donut is a prize-winning Persian cat before the world is shattered, and now she speaks. She is a badass, pardon my French. This book is so well done. It is just escapist fantasy at its best, and I am loving my time with it. I am going to continue to read the series and enjoy every minute of it. I laugh. I'm surprised by choices he makes. You know, there are killer clowns in this one. It's perfection. Okay, so the 4th book I have finished this month is probably my only arc of 2026. That is Keeper of Keys by Rhonda Ortiz. It releases in the beginning of April, and I will do my full review in the beginning of April. I'm not going to talk about it extensively today. I will tell you every other book I read from this point going forward is going to have a very difficult time being my reading choice as best book of the year for 2026. The faith in this book, the historical accuracy in this book, the wrap up of every thread that started in pieces and continued through Adrift is brought to a conclusion in this book. This book is absolutely 100% Catholic in nature. The first 2 books are pure historical fiction. There is a discussion of faith in the first 2 books. This book, however, is Catholic. I learned something in this book. Something I didn't know. I looked up. It was mentioned in the book. I didn't know about it. I looked it up. It's actual fact. I need to go learn more. I love when books teach me things. This book definitely taught me things. There were deaths in this book. There was redemption. It's absolutely lovely in every respect. I will talk about it when I do its own personal review in great detail when the book releases. All I will say is that if you have not yet read the first 2 books in this series, you are missing out. Do yourself a favor, pick them up, read them, and know that what begins in book 1 is brought to fruition in book 3. It's fantastic. So, as of today, that is everything I have read so far in January. January, like I said, has been an incredibly active month. Just, it's not usual. Normally January is very quiet for us, so there you go. Okay. And I'm sure the video continues with everything else I have read this month. So I will leave you to it. Okay, it's the last day of January, so I'm going to wrap up what I have finished. I just realized I forgot a book. I got to go get it. Hang on. Okay, book retrieved. I apologize in advance. Pickles is in a mood. He's tired of the cold. It's currently too cold outside, even though it's not nearly as cold as it has been, to let him go to his outside cage and hang out for the day. So he's throwing a 2-year-old tantrum, much to nobody's surprise. And so if you hear him in the background, I apologize. Okay. Book retrieved. So let's talk about what I have finished. I did finish Carl's Doomsday Scenario by Matt Dinham. This is the second book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. And it lived up to expectations entirely. Kahlua, I don't think people need to see your back. This was just one floor of the dungeon. And so this was floor 3. And floors 3, 6, 9. So every third floor is much more dangerous. People from the outside can come in for, vast amounts of money and hunt down crawlers. And so it was a much more dangerous book. And yet, Carl was still Carl. He's kept his humanity. He has not become ruthless like some of the other surviving humans. It's a fantastic series. I fully admit I am surprised by that in the best possible way, and I'm definitely continuing it. By the way, book 2 is now back on Kindle Unlimited, so whatever the problem was, it's been resolved. I'm going to get book 3 from my library and I will binge the, I think there's 8 books in the series currently. I'm just going to binge them all. I'm not going to lie. They're just fun. It's just a fun, lit RPG experience. And sometimes that's, you just need a book that's fun. So that's Carl. I did finish another video game book. And that is Halo Edge of Dawn by Kelly Gray. This is the 37th book in the Halo series. You do not need to have played the video game to fall in love with this series. So, as you may or may not know, Halo is a first-person shooter game. The very first one debuted on the original Xbox 20 plus years ago. And I believe there's currently one in production. Same protagonist throughout. That's the Master Chief. He is not in all of the books. However, this was a Master Chief novel. And I will tell you, I am very bad at the video game. It's not my favorite genre of video games. I was introduced to video games by Dave. It is his preferred method of relaxation. It was an easy one for me to adapt to. And I love a game that tells me a good story. And the nice thing about video games is they keep your brain elastic, which as you get older is very important. So I don't have a problem playing video games. I will tell you that the Halo books are far, in my personal opinion, superior to the video games. They tell consistently amazing stories. They go through story arcs. There's trilogies within the 37 books. You don't have to read them in order. Like, obviously, if Master Chief is the protagonist of a particular book, you really want to read the previous Master Chief stories because they do build on one another, but, you won't be lost if you don't do that at the same time. So this book takes place immediately after the events of the last video game installment of Halo, which was Halo Infinite. And I loved this. So it's obviously a sci-fi game. It is set in 2560. And without going through all the back lore, humans are at war with a large part of the galaxy. And in this incredible world, there is AI. It's plugged into, in this case, Master Chief's helmet. He can pull that AI chip in and out. He can feel the AI chip being socketed and feel it being removed. And so AI is a functioning part of this universe. And this story is part redemption, part mystery, part can I trust the AI? Master Chief trusts her implicitly. And it ends on a sort of cliffhanger, which I expected. And it just shows that even, more than 500 years in the future, with all our technology advancements and spacefaring and all the things that this universe has uncovered and learned about themselves, fundamental humanity hasn't changed. Master Chief is still very much, even with all his enhancements, a protector, I need to save my fellow Marines type of dude. And it's just a great sci-fi story and easy to pick up. Even if you haven't played the video game, even if you haven't read the previous 36 books, you will understand what's going on in this book. And it has no language. It is completely clean, and it is just good, excellent. I don't want to say space opera, but space opera. Sci-fi, and I loved every word of it. And I have I have many Halo books still waiting for me in my bookcases, and I'm in the mood for them. So we shall see if they end up making an appearance anytime soon. You never know. I will tell you, however, that I am greatly in love with my library at the moment. So, okay. So what am I currently reading? Oh, wait, that's not true. I have read a couple of other, they were all audiobooks. They were all under, I think the longest one was like 40 minutes. I had a bunch of just cleaned out short stories in my audible library. I haven't finished them all by any sense. One was fantasy. One was dark science fiction fantasy. I think that may be all. I think there was one fantasy too. So, just short little ones. I'm not going to talk about them here in detail. If you're interested, hit me up in the comments and I'll share what I read. But I'm missing an audiobook. Hang on. I know I'm missing an audiobook. Okay, I was right. I'm missing an audiobook. I know what it is. I listened to We Are Legion, We Are Bob by... Name escapes me. It's on the title right here. This is the first book in the Bob-averse series, science fiction, and I totally loved it. There are currently, I believe, 5 books in this series. It was funny. It was imaginative. I completely fell in love with this series. So the book opens up present day. Our hero is Bob. He is at a cryogenics firm. I believe he has terminal illness, and he signs the paper, and he's very rich, by the way. And he signs paperwork so that when he dies, his head will be cryogenically frozen until they can, fix whatever's wrong with him. On his way back from the cryogenics facility, Bob's in a fatal car accident, and the last thing he remembers is them talking about decapitating him to freeze his head. Flash forward 100 plus years, and 100 plus years? No, 1,000 plus years. And Bob is woken up in a new universe. And it's Earth. It's a very different Earth than the one he fell asleep in, or the one he died in. And it's just his brain, which is now an AI construct in a computer program. And his brain was taken over by a theocracy who's trying to get to space, and Bob is in competition to be the AI pilot of said craft with 5 other brains the theocracy owns, and it just takes off from there. And it spans hundreds of years in the first book, hundreds of Bobs. There was no nonsense in this book, despite what you would think from the title. And I loved it. I listened to it in one day. I loved all the Bob characters. There's a Homer Bob. There's a sad Bob. It's fantastic. And it's immensely human. Despite everything Bob goes through at the beginning of the book, by the end of the book, Bob is saving what remains of Earth. I will continue this series without hesitation because I absolutely loved it. I loved every single word of it. Oh. Yeah, nothing beats that first sip of coffee. Okay. What am I currently reading? We're going to save the library books for last year because, well, like I said, I'm truly just loving my library at the moment. I did start, believe it or not, here it is, Christian Levin's Daughter by Sigrid Undstedt. I finished the first chapter, and like all Nordic fiction, it takes me a while, a good while, to get immersed in the story. I am not going to say I am yet immersed in the story. It starts off, and she's a 7-year-old girl, and she goes on a trip with her dad and some of his retainers and friends, and it's just, I'm not yet immersed. I'm not yet compelled to pick it up. Does not mean I'm not going to pick it up. It just means it didn't grab me like, let's say, Bob or Carl did this month. Could be because, reading Nordic fiction when it's cold outside does not work for me. Does not work. Okay. That is all that I have read. That is... No. That is not all that's in process. So also in process is... What is the name of this one? Midwinter Murder by Agatha Christie. This was a Kindle pickup for me when it was all... Not all sorry about that. And, you know, it's Christie. I'm loving it. Nobody's surprised by that. I finished the first one, which is Three Blind Mice. I'm on the second one, which is the chocolate one, I believe. Yeah, the chocolate box. And they're just this collection of short mystery stories that are just bite-sized pieces of wonderfulness. And when it's, you know, chilly outside and I just need a quick, cold story, these are working perfectly. It's supposed to get cold here again tonight, so I have something cold to read. Should I want that? Which, you know, I'm not going to lie, would be very odd. Okay, now for the library books. I have 2 library books currently in process. I have a bunch of library books I need to go pick up today or tomorrow. So first up is The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. I have not read anything by her. This is standalone fantasy, which is incredibly rare these days. And it is 375 pages. So it's not even huge standalone fantasy by any stretch. And I'm 40, 50 pages in, and I am absolutely loving it. So I will read you the inside cover. Elsewhere in the Empire, on a remote island brimming with singing flowers, honey cakes, and honey loved, Turlu Perna broke the law because she was lonely. She cast a spell and created a magically sentient spider plant. As punishment, she was turned into a wooden statue and tucked away in an alcove in the north reading room of the great library of Elysium. This should have been the end of her story. Yet, one day, Turlu wakes up in the cold of winter on a nearly deserted island full of hundreds of magical greenhouses. She's starving and freezing, and the only other human on the island is a grumpy gardener. To her surprise, he offers Turlu a place to sleep, clean clothes, and freshly baked honey cakes, at least until she's ready to sail home. But Turlu doesn't want to return home. And as she grows closer with the unwittingly charming gardener, Yarrow, she learns the magic that sustains the greenhouses is failing, causing the death of everything within them. Turlu knows she must help, even if that means breaking the law again. This time, though, she isn't alone. Assisted by Yarrow and a sentient rose, Turlu must unravel the secrets of a long-dead sorcerer if she wants to save the island and have a fresh chance at happiness and love. Funny, kind, and forgiving, The Enchanted Greenhouse is a story about giving second chances to others and to yourself. And so far, that is absolutely accurate. I am in love with this book. Seriously. She has... I've gotten to the point where she's woken up. She's met Yarrow. She's met a magical cat who has dragon wings and curls up on her. So it's just one of those warm, cozy fantasy books that is amazing. I mean, look at the cover. I'll put a better cover right here. The cover tells you everything. And so far, I can see myself picking up more books by her. She has an extensive backlist. It's like 17, 18 books, I believe. And of course, they're not listed here. So, yeah. Okay, that is one book. And the book, I know, I started it last night before I went to bed. And it kept me up all night because I wanted to read it. So I will be unsurprised if I don't finish it today, tomorrow at the latest. That would be the Busybody Book Club by Freya Simpson. I will read anything Freya Sampson, not Simpson, it's Samson, writes because they are magical. Not in the sense that they're magical realism, but because her ability to write is magical. I do not have a better way to describe it. This is, I believe, my third book by her. This is her most recently released book, I believe. I know it's the most recently purchased book by my library. I believe it was 2025 release. Yes. And I just read the prologue. It's all the reading I got done last night. The prologue wasn't even very long. I forced myself to stop because I knew if I went any deeper, I wasn't going to sleep all night. So I'll read you the flap. They can't even agree on what to read. So how are they going to solve a murder? Having recently moved from London to a small Cornish seaside village, Nova Davies started a book club at the community center to bring the locals together. But so far, it's a disaster. The 5 members disagree on everything. To make matters worse, a significant sum of money is stolen during one of the meetings, putting the much-loved community center at risk. Suspicion for the theft falls on book club member Michael, especially when he disappears and a dead body turns up in his house. But the other members have their own theories. Agatha Christie superfan Phyllis is determined to prove Michael's been framed. Romance reader Arthur believes there's a mystery woman involved. And teenage sci-fi fan Ash thinks dark forces are at play. While trying to locate Michael, solve the murder, and recover the stolen money, they all have their own secrets to protect. Despite the danger closing in, they won't rest until they've cracked the case and gotten everyone safe at home with a book where they belong. I am so enamored with her writing. I'm so just her sense of humanity is just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So that is what I'm currently reading. And I do have some DNFs. And yeah, so let's talk about them. First DNF was a huge shocker to me. Huge shocker to me. I'm very glad I got it from the library and I didn't end up buying it. And that was The Ashfire King by Chelsea Abdullah. Cannot begin to tell you how incredibly disappointed and frustrated I am by this DNF. Couldn't get through the first chapter. And you may be wondering why I couldn't get through the first chapter, given how much I loved The Stardust Thief. And I stick by everyone should go read The Stardust Thief. It was beautiful, and sure, it leads into book 2, but I'm just going to have to consider it complete because, well, nonsense pronouns showed up in chapter 1, and I cannot, I will not, I shall not, just a singular person cannot be properly referred to as more than one. Just, it wasn't in the first book. So why is it in the second? So frustrated. So disappointed. But still, go read The Stardust Thief because it's beautiful. Okay. And also on the DNF list, this is why libraries are so beloved by me, because A, I'm not afraid to go pick up a book I've never tried before, or an author I've never tried before, and, just randomly roam the aisles. I'm good with that. And that's never going to change. But because I'm good with that, and I get them from my library whenever possible, when books are a disappointment, they just turn around and go back. And the one I was really intrigued by and looking forward to, and it just sounded fun, and it had older character protagonists, and okay, those are all right up my alley, right? That is The Retirement Plan by Sue Hensenbergs. And, it's got a great cover. Can't really see it because it's a library book. It's got, fun end pages that are different for the front and the back. And I was intrigued. It was a mystery, older protagonists. I'll read you the flap. 3 best friends turn to murder to collect their husbands' life insurance policies. But the husbands have a plan of their own. After 30 years of friendship, Pam dreams of her perfect retirement with Nancy, Shalisa, and Marlene, and their husbands, until their husbands pool their funds for an investment that goes terribly wrong. Suddenly, their golden years are looking as dreary as their marriages. But when the women discover their husbands have 7-figure life insurance policies, a new dream forms. And this time they need a hitman. Meanwhile, their husbands are working on their own secret retirement scheme, and when things begin to go sideways, they fear it's backfired. The husbands scramble to stay alive, but soon realize they may not be quick enough to outmaneuver their wives. I didn't make it past chapter 2, I believe. And if you want to read a book about bitter, mean-spirited, hateful feminist women who just despise their husbands, then go pick this up. If none of that excites you as a reader, then run as far away from this book as you possibly can. Despite its interesting, description and potential contained in said description, the book is hateful. The book is just pathetic. Going back to the library, I don't have to worry about it ever again. She's off my list as a potential author. So, okay, that wraps up the January reading. January was an excellent reading month. Did I get, all of that big pile of possibilities read? Nope. Never thought I would. I'm loving the ability to just pick up and read whatever I want. I realize it probably doesn't give anybody a great insight into what to expect when they tune in, but I'm in love with reading again, and that is far more important than, sticking to a TBR that, is never going to happen. I will say one more housekeeping thing. I realized videos were very light in January. I apologize for that, but life was just super busy, and then it got really cold. I'll put some pictures of the cold here. We never I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I lost power, knock on wood, it got below 30 multiple nights. It's been below 30 multiple nights this month. Last half of the month, it's going to be below 30 again tonight. And it's okay. It's January. It's supposed to be that way. However, I am over it. So there should be more videos again in February. There's ideas percolating. Hopefully the weather cooperates. Dave isn't traveling in February to the best of my knowledge, which always makes life easier. And it will certainly be better if the sun comes out sometime soon and is warm because, well, I miss the sun. Okay. All of my dogs are snoring. If you can hear it, I apologize. How was your January? Did you read anything interesting? Did you read anything that I should try? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe. And I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.